Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, and welcome to ReZOO, the Zoo Review podcast. I'm your host, Jack Baker, and today I am joined once again by my incredible co-host and fellow passionate zoo lover, the one and only Jodi McFarlane. Say hello, Jodi.
Hello, everyone.
Presented by Pangolin, the conservation podcast. This sister show promises to explore, appreciate, and highlight the fantastic conservation work of zoos from around the world, while also offering a perspective on the visitor experience.
Today, we are heading across Europe to the Czech Republic to discuss the absolutely glorious Prague Zoo. Home to one very special creature, this was a truly magical experience.
I wonder what it could be. I have no idea.
Who knows?
No idea.
Have to keep listening to find out.
As always, we're going to walk you through our day, some of the animals that stood out, some of the enclosures that stood out, some of the interpretation and food and everything that stood out. And yeah, we're just going to have a great old time doing it. So, without further ado, let's get started. And welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us once again for another lovely episode of ReZOO, where today, of course, we are talking about the absolutely fabulous Prague Zoo. Now, me and Jodi, we of course went to Prague for one very, very, very certain purpose, which I'm sure we will talk far too much about. It is, of course, as we teased, home to a very, very special creature. But before we get to that and all the rest of the wonderful things that we saw, as always, Jodi, what were you expecting? What were you kind of like thinking about before we went to Prague Zoo? Were you excited? What were your expectations? Tell us a little bit about it.
I don't think I really had any expectations because I didn't know much about Prague Zoo. I think one of our friends from the zoo had been
Charlie.
before. Yes, I'm
Yes.
sure he'd been. So I'd heard good things from him. But other than that, I didn't really have any expectations. And how wrong was I to have no expectations?
You were very wrong.
Yeah.
Very, very wrong. It was so, yeah, I was excited, obviously, because Prague Zoo is one of only two zoos in Europe which are home to pangolins. And of course, that is very special. Of course, the name of the show is a very big journey. We did a whole podcast episode about why they're so special recently when we had just gotten back from Prague. Yeah, so I had high hopes for Prague Zoo. I'd also looked at the kind of like map before we went, and like they're home to things like Tasmanian Devils and wombats and echidnas and shoebills and stuff that I'd never seen before, which is quite like, I feel like at this stage in our journey through zooing, it's hard to find things that like were genuinely like, wow, like I've never seen this before and I'm just like amazed by it. So to have so many of those things all piled up in one place, I was very, very excited. Like, I wanted to go to Prague, obviously, to see it as a city and to see it as a place. But really, the zoo was kind of the major driver to be there for me. So I was very, like, I had high expectations. And I feel like we already know where this is going. But I'm going to say they were absolutely met
and
100%.
exceeded.
Yes. Like, I was just so excited. And yeah, I guess, like, that teases a few of the things we're going to be talking about throughout. Of course, we're going to walk you through everything as normal with food and animals and all sorts of stuff. But, of course, the first thing that we need to talk about is we have our expectations before we go in. We have the things that we're excited for. But then we arrive. And sometimes, of course, like, our first impressions are very different from what we were expecting. Sometimes things are much bigger and grander and whatever, but what were your kind of first impressions when we walked up to Prague Zoo, Jodi?
I feel like it's kind of tucked away a little bit in a residential kind of area. So when the taxi pulled up and dropped us off, we were a bit like, is this it?
Well, yeah, because for a space that is, I think it says on the website like 58 hectares of like land, it does feel like the entrance isn't like it's not, you don't feel like you're walking along like a big wall to find like the entrance. It's like there's buildings and there's like restaurants and there's hotels and stuff, and then you go kind of round them and there's the zoo there,
There's
like
the
tucked
entrance
in
to the zoo.
But it's like it's nice. It feels welcoming, feels small, feels kind of warm. It feels nice. I think, so as we were going around, we noticed there are a couple entrances in and out. We went through the main entrance, for anyone who's wondering. And yeah, that is kind of like, there's a little ticket booth, there's the shop kind of just down from it. There's kind of this big building next to it, which I assume is used for events or offices or something that we didn't go into. And yeah, you kind of come in through this entranceway, which is, yeah, petite, but leads you into the first, I think, thing that really impressed me. And I don't know if you'll remember this, but when you walk in, there is a map. But it's not just a map, because it also says how many people are in the zoo.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I liked that. And obviously when we arrived, we were there like first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But like, it was a nice like thing to be like, oh, that's quite cool to just see like this live tracking of like visitors, and like you could see the map and everything. It was a really nice, I thought, welcoming, like, exciting entranceway.
And it also tells you how busy it is, so you can kind of expect, you know, how crowded.
Alter your expectations.
Yes, exactly. So I think that was a nice touch.
Yeah, I think that was like, yeah, because I always like when you go into a place and they kind of not warn you about how busy it is, but like they set your expectations accurately. And I think that was a nice way of being like, oh, look, we can tell you how many there are, but also like this is a fun, interesting, quirky, unique kind of thing. I was just a big fan. Big fan. And yes, of course, when we arrived, went to the ticket desk, they were very friendly, got tickets sorted. And then when we walked in, like I kind of had asked the guy, like, pangolins first, where like I need to know, where are they? And luckily, like, they are in the Indonesian jungle, which is just up the kind of hill as you go in. So we were able to go there first. Of course, I wanted to go there first because I am very excitable. I love it. I wanted to see them, and I wanted to make sure that I could see them and appreciate them for as many opportunities as I could throughout the day, because I had a feeling they could be sleepy or they could be hard to spot. So I was like, if we go there first, we can like appreciate them for everything they are multiple times throughout the day.
Yes.
And I also knew throughout the day it would get busier and busier and busier. Yeah. And I wanted my own private moment with the pangolins. So that is the direction we headed in first. Running up the hill, because it is kind of like in an area called the Indonesian jungle. And of course my Czech is not at all anything. I don't speak Czech. I don't speak any language particularly well aside from English, and even that is questionable sometimes. But as we entered at the same time as a school group, and I heard the school teacher say Indonesi jungli, and I knew that must mean Indonesian jungle, and I was like, we're going to go. We've got to go.
This code.
We've cracked this code. My pro translation skills are coming in clutch here. But I was like, oh, right, if this group of school kids is going, we need to beat them up this hill, Jodi. Yes. We're running. So poor Jodi, probably about 9 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, it was early.
Dragged up this hill to like the Indonesian jungle. You go into this place, it seems small. It seems kind of petite, seems kind of tucked away, but you get in there and it's a world of its own. It feels like a whole experience. It's beautifully put together. You walk past things like Komodo dragons and orangutans and binturong. What else was there in there? There was fish. There was all sorts of like...
Yeah, lots of little things.
Really little like amazing things. And of course we can talk about each of them. But really the star is of course the pangolin.
Yes.
You go into a nighttime area and I think instantly, of course, I like clenched up because I was like... This is the time. This is it. This is the moment. And we got there at just the right moment because I don't know why they were in there. I think they were filming maybe some kind of promotional material. They were taking pictures. They had all the lights on. So even though it was a nocturnal area, and every time we went in for the rest of the day, it was in pitch black. When we went in first thing, all of the lights were on. So we were able to see the pangolins like running around, climbing up stuff, falling over themselves, trying to climb up a tree. Like, it was just the most magical. I loved it so much. And if you haven't heard it yet, there is an episode of the main series of Pangolin called I Finally Met a Pangolin that's already out, episode 69. I cry in it. It's great. Go and listen to it for my full thoughts. But like, it was just one of the most magical, incredible experiences of my entire life. And so I know I'm biased, but Prague Zoo started so high with this whole experience. Like, even if we took the pangolins out of the equation, this whole space of the Indonesian jungle is incredible.
Yeah.
So I just loved it. But of course, I feel like I've rambled about pangolins for a while. We can talk about the other animals in a second. But Jodi, pangolins, thoughts, feelings, emotions.
I think we were very lucky that the photographer was in there at the time that we went, because, as you say, every other time that we went back later in the day, we didn't see it as well, which makes me think, because you had said previously, like, if we go and we do not see the pangolin today, we will be coming back tomorrow.
Yes.
So I think the fact that we went and we saw it so well, that first moment was like, right, now we can actually relax and enjoy the rest of the zoo.
Yeah.
Because if we hadn't, I was not hearing the end of it that whole day.
No.
So, yeah, it was nice. And also I feel like it's the first time I've seen one, and it was kind of like, okay, so this is what the fuss is all about. Like, it was nice
Did
to
it
actually
live up to the fuss?
see. I mean, yeah, it was...
Try to sound more convincing, please.
No, it was really weird. It's just a really weird little animal. And if you don't really know what it is, or you've not seen one, like, they're just really weird. I mean, in a good way, but like...
But weird.
Yeah, and like bumping into stuff and that. And I was like...
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like you've really put them on this pedestal. So in my mind, I was expecting something and then got something else. Not in a bad way, just in a like, oh.
I painted them as a majestic god.
Yeah, and it's this little bumbling creature that bumps into walls. And I was like, I mean, it's really cute, but like, oh.
I loved it.
It's just really sweet.
I loved it. And I could have stood there for hours and watched it. Like, it was
I liked the little burrows that it had, like the little windows into the den where it goes to sleep.
Yes.
So you could see it sleeping.
It was very cute. I was a big, big fan. And like, the whole thing was just magical. It was just fantastic. And as I said during the episode all about it, I'm kind of like, it re-inspired and reinvigorated me and made me realise why I love this animal so much. And it also, I guess, goes to show the power of a zoo, because even though I love this animal, I felt completely re-inspired by seeing it in real life. And I think, like, especially because they've had such success there with, like, were able to breed them and, like, they were able to do these things. And it's an animal that is very hard to keep in captivity.
Yeah.
It has a reputation for being very difficult to look after. And they've been able to take that ball and run with it so successfully. It was just, like, fantastic and a brilliant way to start the day. And
I liked how all the lights went off after we'd been there for a little while, because I guess the photographer moved on.
Yeah.
And just as that happened, like, you heard the school group coming in the darkness, and we were like, right, time to go.
Yep, I was like, that was fun. No, it was just so good. And yeah, I like, so brilliant. Like, if we expand, I guess, the conversation slightly to the rest of the Indonesian jungle, were there any things in there that stood out to you?
Well, after that, but you went upstairs, didn't you?
And that took you to the orangutans.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just liked that it was quite a diverse space, I guess, that you went from having all these small things in the dark and in sort of almost watery environments in that first room, and then upstairs to this much more open, kind of jungly space. I just thought it was a really nice space.
And it was good because it used that kind of technique of, like, having, like, no barrier between you and the orangutans. It was like you, water, orangutan. It felt very like we are in the same place.
Yeah.
I, like, really liked it.
Yeah.
Really appreciated it. And then the whole space was just so good. And I think, like, a good way to, like, kick off the experience. And what I think is odd and really good is that sometimes, like, when you set the bar high out the gate like that and you're like, bang, here is something amazing.
Yeah.
Sometimes places struggle to, like, keep the amazingness running throughout the whole day. They maybe re-peak again throughout, but this was peak all day.
Yeah. It was like all killer, no filler.
All
Zoo.
killer, yes.
Really, that's how I'd sum up the whole zoo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just so good.
Yeah.
Especially because it follows on, you come out of that space, and then you're instantly kind of into this, like, polar bears, which is under redevelopment actually at the moment. So they're getting this kind of space just now that we saw, but they're soon to be moved into a new space.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
But of course, polar bears, always a magical thing to see. Always an incredible thing to see. Always inspiring. Always kind of awe-inspiring. I always forget quite how big they are.
Yeah.
Until you see them in front of you and you
I think it's
whoa,
because
okay.
when we see them in Scotland up at Highland Wildlife Park, they're kind of a bit further away, you know, because of the design of their habitat, whereas here you were much
they
closer
were like,
to them.
hello.
Yeah, like we were like, oh, what's in this? And then you turn the corner and
There's
it's like,
bear.
oh, a massive polar bear on the other side of the glass. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved them. That was a real moment for me. I was really connecting with that bear that was lying
Just
spluted out.
Yeah.
Sleeping. I was feeling him.
It's this year's what was
Hyrax.
it? Rock Hyrax.
Yeah.
just like done to the world. Just like, I'm chilled. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm content. I'm here. And yeah, loved it. It was just, really nice. And I feel like the fact that they're moving them justifies going back to Prague Zoo again. I guess. Yeah. Like at some point. Yeah.
And it had like a design concept for what the new habitat's going to look like, and it looked really cool.
I did not remember this.
Yeah.
Well, go and look that up, listeners, because I will be after this. We've finished recording. No, that's amazing. And like, again, another star. All killer, no filler. Moving on then, we go Indonesian jungle, polar bears, into now what is kind of the first, I guess, like bigger outdoorsy themed area. Because these spaces are kind of like the Indonesian jungle is an indoor house.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have the polar bears. But then we have this big themed area which is themed around Africa. The first area that you kind of enter is all of these rocks all over the place, and you kind of look at it and you're like, what is that? Because it's not immediately obvious that it's actually animal habitats and spaces. You just see like all these rocks stood up on end, but then you go down into it and it's home to things like honey badgers, porcupines, bat-eared foxes. Like there was those little squirrely things that you absolutely lost your mind over. Like I just like, and it was so good. So good. Thoughts?
It was a good little bit. I forgot about the squirrely thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This really, again, was setting the bar for Prague Zoo, because there was lots of little things, and sometimes it's a bit like, little things just there to fill the space, keep moving till you see the next big thing. But even the little things in here was like really weird little stuff that I've not seen before.
The bat-eared fox.
Yeah, just everything was great. Because again, even the stuff that typically might be filler wasn't. Even the filler was interesting.
That's harsh. What are we calling filler? Call them by name, Jodi. Call them by name.
Well, yeah, just sometimes when it's like, we've got a wee bit of space, we'll stick a meerkat in here. There's the tendency to do that. Whereas this was like even little things that people might just bypass because they're not typically exciting.
Yeah, fair.
I found it all exciting.
Yeah, and the way that it was presented was exciting.
Yeah, really did that well.
Yeah, and then you go into like that house. So you've got all these outdoor spaces and you go into a house and then you see kind of the indoor areas for the honey badger and all of these things. And in there, again, there's like reptiles, there's little lemurs, there's hyraxes, there's, what else? There was a nighttime section with, it wasn't eye-eyes, it was like bush baby type things.
I'm sure there was like 4 different things in
the dark.
Yeah. All jumping about mad in the dark with big eyes.
Yes.
The lemurs were also cool because they had lemurs that I was not familiar with. Like, this was another thing about Prague Zoo, and I'm sure we'll touch more on this as we go on, but it was like, a lemur. Well, we've all seen lemurs before, but this had lemurs that I haven't seen before.
Yes.
And like species that it's like, well, we've all seen a tiger before. Spoiler alert for what's to come. But I haven't seen this type of tiger before. Like, just... Again, as you said at the start, it's hard to excite zoo people after they've been to so many zoos.
Unless you're me, obviously. I'm excited all the time.
Well, yeah. But, it's just getting to that point of like, oh, wow, this is something different. Like, that doesn't happen very often. Yeah. And Prague was doing it around every corner. Yeah, it was just, so cool. You then walk outside, and then there's the hippos and the bongos, and like, they were just amazing. I think like... they're 2 of my like favourite big mammal species. Yeah. And like the hippos was very clever because it had like an indoor house and an outdoor house, but like all the way along you had this kind of underwater viewing, which like they're proper full-size hippos, no pygmy hippos here, full-size, massive hippos. And like they were like, one of them was like swimming and you could see it just like trotting along the bottom and coming up by the glass, and like, it was just amazing. And then behind them, like I always love in a zoo where like, maybe they wouldn't want to mix these 2 species, like you wouldn't want to put necessarily the hippos in with the bongos. But what you can do is make it so as a visitor, as you look across, it looks almost like they're in the same spot. So the perspective is really important, and the levels are really clever, and the way that you see things are really clever. So even if you can't do a mixed species habitat, you feel like you're surrounded by all of these things. And I think similarly to the like rock area kind of did that, where it felt like you were turning around the rocks and you were seeing like, porcupine, fox, thing. And they could really have mixed. Even though they couldn't, it felt like they could have. Yeah. And then again here, you felt like it all could have mixed. Yeah, it just makes it feel very cohesive.
Yes, I just like loved it. I thought it was so interesting. Did you have thoughts on the Any of the little antelopes or like
Not
stuff
so
that we
much.
saw?
I feel like they're really your bag. Like, you
love
always
them.
love a bongo, and that's the point where I'm like, I just leave you to it with your camera.
Yeah, you just keep
For a
start
little
walking
sec.
and then I like have to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, if it works, it works.
I start looking at the map at that point, planning the next move.
Yes.
Because I know you need a moment with the bongos.
Yes. And this is also, speaking of next move, we kind of go round the corner and we see the greatest zoo refreshment stand I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yes.
Every other zoo that has binturongs needs to do this because they had a binturong popcorn stand.
Yes.
And for anyone who doesn't know, binturongs notoriously smell like buttered popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
They stink of it. And it's so distinctly like that is buttered popcorn.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like, oh, this animal kind of smells like this, or when people are all like, oh, it tastes like chicken or whatever, like you know that way where like people
Yeah.
generalize these things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it kind of smells. No, popcorn, binturongs, same thing. And they have a binturong popcorn stand,
Which is so simple and clever that I'm like, why have I never seen that before?
yeah, who never thought? Why has no one else done? Why has everyone not done this?
I know.
Like-
Edinburgh Zoo's got binturongs. Where's their popcorn stand?
I feel
Could
like-
easily have one up there.
Yeah, I feel like, well, there's all sorts. This is the thing, but you also, I don't want to be like steal their idea, but I'm also like steal it, do it. You probably can't
Yeah.
trademark that, so like do it. It's great, it's funny, and like maybe I feel like many people would miss the joke, but if not, it's an educational experience, even when you're
Exactly.
buying food.
Yeah.
Like, zoos are meant to be educational, wonderful, exciting places. Mm-hmm. Why not bring it into the food department as well? Like, even if
And especially something like a binturong, which can be a bit weird and underappreciated,
yes,
shines a light on it.
exactly. Oh, so good, so good.
Yeah, we had to instantly stop and take a photo of it
I
to
did.
send to our
I think I
friend
took a
Emily.
selfie with it, like,
Yeah.
hey, look at me. No, it was so good. It was so good. And then I guess we keep moving. We kind of keep walking. We take a moment to appreciate that for all that it is. And we reach kind of like the first point of contact with the elephant space. Now these are these are Asian elephants, and so not African. So we're kind of stepping out of Africa for a second. You kind of skirt around the outside of the Asian elephants to get to the rest of the African animals. But worth taking a moment to stop here, because this point where you skirt past is also where the house is, and like you get the story of the elephants and stuff, and like it's really, really interesting. And so yeah, you come to this elephant house that has these kind of Asian elephants within it. Big group, massive space for them.
This was a great space.
It was a great space, and I think the backstory of it is very, very sad.
Yes.
But it is really, really amazing to see the care and the attention to detail and the love and the thought that's been put into this new space, because essentially Prague Zoo is built on a river. The whole of Prague, the river kind of curves round and round and round, and Prague is built in this kind of, on this kind of curving river. And the zoo previously has had an issue where there was severe rains and flooding, and the large mammal house, which housed hippos, elephants throughout time, flooded, and some of the elephants survived. I think one of them passed away. Couldn't leave, couldn't get it out. And it drowned, which obviously horrifying, like deepest sympathies to anyone who was involved in the care of that animal, and all of those animals. I can't imagine how traumatic that must have been. But the kind of story of that and the legacy that has left is that now they have developed this new kind of house that is so incredible, and the elephants, the care that they get and the love that they get and the kind of respect and kind of space and time they seem to get dedicated to them within this kind of place is incredible. And so while it came from this sad moment, there is an incredible legacy that has been left because of it, and so it's not been like a defeated kind of like, this is a horrible tragedy. It is a horrible, sad thing, but they have built on it and built this new incredible thing out of it, which I think is a really nice
And I think
thing.
it's great as well that they tell that story in the new elephant house. Like, they have the signage up that tells the story of the old one, which I think is good, because it's just like respectful of that, this legacy that's been left. But yeah, I thought this was a great space. The house is huge. I really like the interp. It's got a lot of I'm sure it's got like little profiles for each of the elephants, for who they are and how they're all related and stuff, which I think that little personal touch is great because it helps people to connect with them. And yeah, then their outdoor space, I'm sure it was kind of separated off into different sections, maybe like males and females or whatever. And yeah, it was just a really great space. And I remember us as we were walking, because you can kind of come at this outdoor habitat from a few different angles. But at one point we were walking along and they just had loads of great signage and little interp bits and bobs, like as you were walking up the path to it. And we talked about how obviously bigger zoos have got the benefit of space, so they can use a space to do stuff like that. And was there not something like some sort of simulator? It was closed on the day we went, but it was something like what it's like to do an elephant ride, which I thought was a really clever thing to do. And obviously in a lot of tourism these days, it's kind of moving away from elephant rides and maybe not encouraging it because the practice isn't always the best in some places. So I thought this was a really great alternative to show what it's like without actually doing it. I thought that was a really clever idea.
Yeah, I think it was just like, I think it was amazing, and it was kind of like really, really interesting. I thought the whole thought process and the whole design of the space, it just was one of those ones where I was like, oh, I want to stop and take a picture of this, and I want to stop and take a picture of that, and I want to think about this, and I want to talk about that, and I want to see this, and I want to go up here and look at them, and I want to go in there and look at them, and I just think it was so...
I just really appreciate a space in a zoo where it isn't only the animal in the habitat that I want to stop and look at, it's the whole thing, the whole experience. And yeah, often big zoos perhaps do this better because they've got the space to be able to do it. Not only big zoos, but yeah, typically it's something that we see in big zoos where it's that whole cohesive experience, like a whole habitat or exhibit, you know, it brings the whole idea together. It's just a great visitor experience.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Really, really good. I just loved it. I just loved it. And like, yeah, I feel like worth stepping out of Africa for just to talk about these guys.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, you kind of skirt it here, but the space is so big, you kind of walk alongside it for ages in the Africa zone, and then on the other side you can kind of come back round. So it's a huge round space. But now felt like the right time to sing our praises for elephants. And so yeah, there's that. And if you can't tell, we loved it. And then, of course, we move on to... We kind of leave that area and we move on back into Africa, where we get to a plains kind of area, which has giraffe and ostrich, several types of antelope. There's also an area that has the aardvarks and meerkats, and just overall... lots more Africa space. Yes. We do, of course, get to the end where there's gorillas, but for this kind of section of Africa, what do we think, Jodie? What did you like?
I liked a lot about this. Obviously, the giraffes are kind of going to be the stars.
Bias.
Well, yes, obviously bias, but I thought this was a good space, and I liked that the big kind of outdoor paddock that they had was really big and kind of went off up this hill, like it sloped up, and so they really could just disappear off if they wanted to. And we had a little look in the giraffe house. There were no giraffes in it at the time, but the house was quite cool as well. And I liked in the little house where the aardvarks were. They were snoozing. That was a very cute moment. Cute.
Very, very cute.
Yeah, just a nice little space. Liked it.
There's just something about the way that aardvarks fly with like on their backs, like they look almost dead, or they're just like they've kind of like passed out to the world, and there's just like flies buzzing around. Occasionally, you just see them like whack one and stuff. Like I just love that. I think good for them. And yeah, again, the plain space was just huge. Number one, expansive, diverse, beautiful, clever use of kind of space, and like I guess like this is the thing is like they were very lucky for like what is named as a city zoo, like Prague Zoo.
Yeah.
Like, you'd expect to be quite small because Prague as a city is very dense. There's lots of, like, old buildings, old spaces. Like, you wouldn't think, like, they'd be able to have these huge, expansive things. Whereas when you think of other city zoos, like London Zoo, they have to be really clever about space and the species they have because they have to kind of, like...
Yeah, it has to all be compact.
And kind of fit them into this very clever layout. Whereas Prague Zoo was just like, well, here is a massive reserve.
Yeah.
Probably, like... comparable to people who've been to Blair Drummond, like
probably bigger than that.
Bigger, but like I'm thinking like the drive-through reserve, like at least half the drive-through reserve space would be the size of this, like at least half, and like that's a drive-through. Like they don't even expect people to walk through that at Blair Drummond, whereas like at Prague Zoo, it's like, oh, see that spot in the distance?
Yeah.
That's probably a gazelle of some kind, or like an antelope or an ostrich or whatever it is. So amazing.
Yeah.
Like, so cool. And like, yeah, you have this boardwalk along that you're kind of going at like giraffe head height, and then you kind of duck down onto ground level and you can see more stuff there, and like, just really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really cool. Yeah, and there's like, because you cross over a road to get to it. So I think, I don't know what the road is that runs through, but like, I think...
Yeah, because I don't know if that's like a staff road or if that's an actual road.
It didn't seem busy, to be fair. No. But like, whatever it was, you crossed over.
There was an entrance near here because there was a bus stop. So you could get off the bus here and go in this entrance.
Yeah. So maybe there's something around there. Don't know. Anyway, we then get to the end of this kind of long stretch.
Yes.
To a house which contained the gorillas.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to mess up the pronunciation of this.
Okay.
The spelling of it is DJA Reserve. DJA.
Okay.
So is that like Ja? Or like Dja? I don't know. But it's a beautiful space. My pronunciation, I'm very sorry. As we know, I am dyslexic. So even when I know what the word is meant to be pronounced as, most of the time I get it wrong.
When you speak the language.
Yes. It goes horribly wrong. Whereas, yeah. So, Ja, we'll go with Reserve, which is gorillas. There are... Is it colobus monkeys? Black and white colobus monkeys? In with the gorillas. And then there were little...
There was a lot of stuff
whole
in
diverse
this.
range of stuff.
The gorillas were obviously stealing the show,
They were
so
the
that's
star.
what I remember. But there was like a whole other sort of side of the room that was all other little stuff.
Yeah, Red River hogs.
There was an outdoor bit as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a hog. There was a Red River hog in there, I'm sure. Yeah. And like... Oh, hello little piggies. Got to get it in there from our traumatic experience. If you know what that reference is, thank you for listening to all of these. But like, yeah, so just so good. And like, it just like, and there was this huge like seating area. So I assume like in the height of summer and the height of like holidays and stuff, it must be filled with people who all want to learn about gorillas.
Because they must do a gorilla talk. So I guess the idea is that the audience can sit up in this staggered seating and someone stands down the front in front of the glass and does a talk. Yeah. Which would be it's a really good space for it.
Yeah. And the outdoor space as well. Huge. Mm-hmm. Like it's a really nice gorilla space.
Yeah.
Probably my favourite one I've ever seen. Maybe one of. I'm not sure. I just love it. Yeah.
They had another thing as well of it was giving you the profiles of the individual gorillas, which again I liked. Because then you kind of have the fun of being like, oh well, I think that one is this one, you know, which is good. And there was it wasn't massively busy when we were in there, but it was nice that there was people like mums and kids just like sitting on the steps, just watching. Yeah. Just sitting chilling,
and
maybe
you
having
sit there for
lunch.
hours.
Yeah. Just watching what was going on. It was great.
I think this is the type of zoo where like it was when we went, it was like it wasn't a school holiday and stuff, so it was small groups, and it's the type of thing where like it is so huge that if I was a family, if I was like had kids and stuff, and I would get a membership and I would come and do that. I would come and just sit in one spot, let them have a look at the gorillas. Maybe come back a couple of weeks later and show them something else. Come back a couple of weeks after that.
You would have to just pick a section and do that section today and come back and do the rest.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd be absolutely exhausted. Yeah. Like, I still don't know how my mum pushed me up and down the hill at Edinburgh Zoo hundreds of times in that buggy. So... yeah, I respect any parent who is willing to try and do that, but also just get a zoo membership and go back 100 times. Do it. So yeah, it was really nice and sweet. And then we get to the first of the gift shops. Yes. There were many, which I quite liked, because obviously with multiple entrances and multiple ways in and out, you want multiple gift shops, because if you're whatever, you've got a school group or you've got kids or you've got whatever, and you've promised them a toy or you've promised them that they can go and spend some money or whatever. Like, it's nice to have different options. Yes. And so, yeah, and it's also good for people like me, where I'm indecisive. So I like to be able to peruse the gift shop at this stage, have a look at the t-shirts, have a look at the mugs, have a look at the magnets, and then for the rest of the day, even though we didn't necessarily know if we were coming back to this shop, I knew there was other shops which had the same stuff. Yes. So I could think about what I actually wanted, which was a dream. Loved that. So yeah, we then... exited out of here, crossed back over the road, which we were kind of at previously, and kept on going into an area known as the Northern Forest. Mm-hmm. Now, this is kind of the bottom of the Northern Forest kind of area. I think some of it kind of like, there's a huge hill in the centre of Prague Zoo. And so I think like some of it, we kind of like Northern Forest maybe I think goes a bit up the hill, so maybe loop back to some of those animals. But for this
Yeah,
first
that kind of
part,
middly bit on the hill, I feel like we just kind of came to them as we came to them. We
Yes.
didn't sort of tackle that whole area at once because that was the middle of the zoo, so we just came to it as we went round.
Exactly. So yes, we kind of get to this Northern Forest area. Just go with us here.
If you're following on the map, it gets a bit confusing at this
Yes,
bit.
we go
Just
back
with
and forward
it.
on ourselves
We
a
dip
little
in and
bit.
out.
Yeah. So we then go and look at things like the owls.
Mm-hmm.
There was little owls. There was, I believe it was an Amur tiger.
Yep.
An Amur tiger. There were leopards. Oh my gosh, what are they called? The leopards. The ones
I remember the tiger.
Yeah, no, but the leopards that I made us go to Rotterdam to see, and then we've seen them like in 12 different places in the last year, which are called, listeners, what's going on with us? Amur leopards.
Yeah.
The same. You mean the same as the tiger? You mean
Yeah.
the same as the tiger that I could have remembered?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, that went well. Amur leopards, and then there were kind of like all sorts of kind of mountain goatee species, things like barrels. There was a geotrail. There was all sorts of stuff. So we kind of get to this section.
Yes. This section was quite good because it was just as you're walking along this path, they're all just along the side of it.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
boom.
so it's just literally one thing after another.
Yes, and like
Which was good.
good. I loved lots of hard hitters here.
Yeah.
All kind of a lot of stuff we've discussed previously, obviously, because we'd seen the Amur leopards at Rotterdam, we've seen Amur tigers at Highland Wildlife Park. Lots of stuff we've discussed before.
But you know what I loved about this? Normally you'd think, I'm in a zoo, I've seen a tiger. There's the tiger. Tick.
Oh, just you wait.
You don't expect to see another tiger later on.
Let alone two.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
No, so it was really good, and it was nice to see. I don't think I've ever seen a barrel before. I'm saying it like Goral, but with the BHA instead of a GOR.
Yeah.
Barrel? We'll go with it. As we know, my pronunciations are terrible. Barrel.
But this was just a really nice green leafy sort of space.
Yes.
For everything.
Yes, and this is also when it started to rain.
Yes, I remember.
And you became grumpy and hungry all at once and wet, which was a dangerous combination. And like we stumbled across like a little like one of the little cafes that they have, and we went in and we looked at the menu, and you were like, no. Because
I
feel like you had very specific food in mind that you wanted, and they didn't supply that, which is fair. They had many other establishments.
One thing I would say, but this is a general grumble about most zoo maps, is that they have all their different eating places on the map, which
True.
is great. That's what we like. But some zoos have got a standard menu across all of their eating places, and other zoos, different eating places have different menus or styles, and so I just feel like it would be helpful to have a little description of what the different food places are, because if you are a child or an exceptionally fussy eater like I am, then you kind of not every place is going to cater for your tastes, I would say.
Oh, but that was a very I feel like you feel like you delivered that in a way that doesn't sound really picky and like up yourself.
Well, it is picky, but I just, especially when you've got such a big layout, it's like, because we've passed a few food places throughout the day that I would have eaten something at.
True.
But we thought, no, it's fine, there's another one further up the hill. And then you get further up and go, actually,
that is fair.
I'm not going to eat anything in here because it's
I'm fussy.
Traditional Czech stews and stuff, which is not.
It's not. Jodi
eat.
is a chicken nuggets kind of gal. Just to clear it up, it's not that she hates cultural foods or foods in general that are exciting.
I just hate most food. To be fair, it's got to be plain and boring, or I'm not eating it.
So eventually, we walked to the point where we could find her somewhere that had chicken strips. But like the food, I would have said. I'm just going to throw it out there. I was disappointed we didn't eat at this place because it seemed charming and small and lovely. I'm just going to throw it out there.
And I think for anyone that was not me, it would have been. But yeah, if we just have a map that gives you a little indicator of what each place has, it helps you to plan your day more. Because we could have looked at it and gone, right, we need to eat at this cafe, so we'll aim to be in this area for this time. It just helps the whole day go a little bit smoother.
I think so, because I think, that is fair. Even just say you have a fish and chips thing. Just say restaurant fish and chips.
Yeah.
Restaurant burgers.
This one's just like paninis
traditional
and
Czech
sandwiches.
Food.
Yeah.
Restaurant sandwiches. Yeah.
Just give us a brief summary.
And I think it's something we actually pointed out at Artis as well. is that have that and also have, if possible, and understand this is a lot of information potentially to provide on a map or whatever, but have maybe like an idea of opening hours. Because sometimes certain food outlets are closed. And this wasn't the case here. I think most of the food outlets we passed were completely open. But some places, while we're having the discussion anyway, sometimes you go and you're like, oh, there's a little cafe up here. And, and especially if you're going at quieter times, not during summer or whatever, then sometimes those areas are closed. And it would be helpful to have like pizza restaurant open 12 till 5, Monday through Thursday or whatever, like, and just kind of like, so you could know, oh well, I'm here on a Friday, this is closed, I'm here on and like plan. So I think that's actually fair, very very fair critique of all zoos, actually, not necessarily just Prague.
It's something that when you live life as a fussy eater like me, it is something that's always on your mind when you go out anywhere, so it just would always make life just that little bit easier.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Okay. I appreciate that. No, that's good. That is good. But eventually we did kind of keep walking in the rain.
In the rain, yes.
I think it's the first time I've ever been like, Jodi, this is a big day for me with the pangolin, so I'm going to let this slide. But we like stepped into this restaurant and it was just starting to spit, and Jodi was like, I don't really want any of the food in here. Fair enough. Then we turned to leave and it was like the heavens had just like opened. And I was like,
but
really?
We then started moving on down to the wetlands area. So that was quite fitting.
Well, yes, fair. True. So we walked round to the next restaurant thing.
It felt really immersive.
Yes, we got wraps, which were much nicer for Jodi. I liked them. They were delicious. They had like chips and chicken strips and coleslaw and stuff. It was great. Very nice. Had like a little kind of drink. It was very good. It was very nice. There was a little buzzer system so you could run up. There was umbrellas so we could hide from the rain. It was very, very good. And then before we move into the wetlands, there was that little geo-trail thing as well, which I thought was really interesting. When you're built on a hillside with exposed rock, take advantage of that. Talk about dinosaurs or whatever you want to talk about. Talk about geology and geosciences and all these things. Why not? It's there. Do it. Really interesting. So if you're a fossil person, there's something for you. Then dive into the wetlands, because you've seen prehistoric dinosaur type things. Dive into their relatives, the birds, which were incredible. Amazing. So many aviaries, so little time. Amazing birds in all shapes and sizes. Spoonbills, ibises, all sorts of stuff. But the star was, of course, the shoebill.
Yes.
2 shoebills, who are just amazing. Like, I have always wanted to see one. I've always been captivated by them. They have this menacing, for anyone who doesn't know, they have this menacing kind of like glare. They have this huge beak.
They look terrifying.
Yeah,
like if they were in a child's cartoon film, they would be the villains.
They are the villains. Yeah. Am I the villain? Yes, you are. And they're great. And they are scary, because when we were in there, one of them kind of clocked its own reflection just in a small bit of metal. And the way it squared up to it, I was like, if it came at me like that, I would just lay down and embrace death, honestly, because scary, but so amazing. Like, and they do this amazing thing where they rattle their beaks together, like really, really loudly. It's like bang, 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 bang. It sounds like a machine gun. It's so loud, it's booming, it's intimidating. They'll use their kind of bills and sounds and all sorts of stuff to show off to each other. They are very, very rare in zoos, very, very rare. But they are a species that is decreasing in number. And so they are something that we need to talk about more. And like, I think they're one of these animals that gets memed a lot, that gets put up in places and people don't really know about them.
Yeah.
But having them in a place here where, like, look at this, it's not just a meme. It's not just like the palace's cat or whatever, where you're like, oh, it looks grumpy, or oh, it looks scary. This is a real living, breathing, amazing thing that is more than just grumpy. Was amazing. And I thought it was really cool. Even though I've just painted an image of them that they're scary. But they are more than scary. They're everything. That's Tinder profile for somebody out there. More than scary, I'm everything.
Everything.
No, I loved it.
They're in a really lovely place as well, because while you were having your moment with the shoebill, I started wandering off, as I do, and a really, really beautiful part of the zoo. Like, even take away whatever specific species of bird it is that you're looking at, just the whole surrounding, it was such a peaceful moment just as the rain was kind of starting to tether off. So lush and green, and you had the big hill in the background, and you're down almost like in this valley at the bottom of the hill, and it's just Just
amazing.
gorgeous.
Yep.
Gorgeous zoo. Really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and what I think is really clever about that is they use spaces like these wetland areas for the birds, but then also equally they use what is a massive cliff face that's kind of next to the birds for things like sheep and goats and Barbary macaques and all sorts of like amazing things that can live on these kind of steep cliff faces.
Yeah.
So like
no space is wasted. It's like, well, what animal would live in that space?
yeah,
Let's get that.
we've got plains for African savanna animals, we've got cliffs for these things, we've got wetlands, we've got everything for everything we could possibly want.
Yeah. It's not like they went, right, we've got a cliff, we don't want to waste all that space, so we need to just build an enclosure into it. Like, no, they made it make sense. Like, the math was mathing with this zoo.
Yeah.
At every turn. It's great.
It was really, really cool. And then we get onto an area where I think they're kind of developing a bit more, which is the kind of cat and reptile house, big cat and reptile house.
Now, I loved this space.
It was cool.
I really liked it.
It felt like there was a lot going on there, though. So I don't know what we're talking about now might not be exactly what's there when you get there, because it felt like I think they were building a new area for cheetahs, or maybe it was like some of the lemur spaces
something
were
was
closed.
being rebuilt, wasn't it?
So it was all kind of like in a bit of flux. But the big cat house, big cat house, the big cat house was there, and contained Sumatran tigers. It contained lions. It contained Javan leopards.
A Javan leopard.
Which incredibly rare, incredibly interesting, and I'd never seen before.
I think it said it was one of the only ones in Europe.
Yeah, and like beautiful, incredible. It was sat in such a beautiful place as well, because it was just like, oh,
yeah,
there is
a little
cat.
clouded leopard,
the
Malayan tiger,
the Malayan tiger, all sorts of little reptiles. Amazing.
There's a little fishing cat as well.
Yeah,
I loved this space.
I'll let you take the lead because I feel like you did.
I really liked this space, and you walked in, and I liked everything about the building. It had like little lit up lights on the roof and stuff, and this bench that wove down the middle of it. It was just cool, really cool. And because a big cat house, sometimes there's maybe the temptation to just bung a lion in it and be like, right, tick, we've done it. But this was like, no. Like, oh, there's a leopard. Move on to the next one. There's a tiger. There's a lion. Like, every time you thought, they can't top this, you moved on to the next window, and they had.
Yeah.
And like we said earlier, just amazing the fact that we're not stopping at one tiger. Oh, no. No, we're going to give you all the tigers. And to see the Malayan tiger was really exciting for me. That was one of my highlights. I really liked all the leopards as well. Quite elusive. We did manage to spot one just for a second before it went in its little hidey hole. I think that was the clouded leopard maybe. And that Javan leopard was just gorgeous. And as I've already rambled about, it's just really exciting to see stuff that you don't normally see, and standing there as zoo people and appreciating how rare that is. Like, seeing all these people looking at the Malayan tiger just going, oh, it's a tiger. And I'm like, no, but it's not just a tiger. Like, this is a special tiger. Well, all tigers are special, of course.
But is something you don't see every day.
You really don't see this in every zoo. Like, this is amazing. And my mind was blown. And just wanted to be to people like, you don't know how cool this is. So I loved this whole part of the experience was just mind blowing for me.
It was incredible. And I will echo all of that. I think the whole space was interesting. The selection of cats was amazing and unique and bizarre and things that I've never seen before.
And I just feel like this was one house. This was one tiny part of this zoo. The species that were making up this one house, some other smaller zoos, that would be their whole zoo. Like that little combo of species. And this is just one teeny part of Prague Zoo. Just phenomenal. Yeah. Really phenomenal.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. I do think it's one of those ones where it does feel like one of the older parts of the zoo.
Yes.
So I think it could do I feel like looking at what they're redeveloping and what they're changing, my guess, I don't know anything, I feel like would be maybe something like this would be in the future, given they're redeveloping cheetahs and stuff around it.
Yeah.
So it might be interesting to go back in a few years and see if anything's changed there. But overall, it was a really nice big kind of selection, and it was just incredible to see something. And I thought what was amazing about the Malaysian, wasn't it? Malaysian tiger.
Malayan, I think.
Malayan tiger. What was amazing to see about the Malayan tiger was it wasn't just. I feel like sometimes you get two animals that are distinctly different, but look the same. So like maybe there is some kind of difference that there are some kind of subtle differences. Whereas the Malayan tiger, I feel like the face shape, like I was like, you don't look like anything I've seen before.
Yeah, because I feel like in zoos, certainly in Scotland, and really across most of Europe, you're used to seeing the Sumatran or the Amur. That's what you see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just to see a tiger and go, oh, you're different. Yeah, like, you know, when we now know tigers well enough to know by the face shape or the size of them or whatever, oh, that's something I haven't seen before. That was just so cool. So cool. It really was one of my highlights of the whole day.
Yeah, I could tell. You were very, very buzzing about the whole thing. It was really, really, special. And I think something else that is special is just outside of this house. It is a small house. It is tucked away. Well, not tucked away. It's right there. But it is the giant salamanders.
Yes.
Which I kind of had forgotten, and that someone had told me about it in the run up to it. But again, something else that I'd never seen. And like, amazing. So you go in, it's dark, it's tucked away, and in there, just this massive salamander that is just huge and unique and special. And like the way that it's designed, there's like open water for you to like look at stuff.
Oh, but that was scary because I was like, how do people not just fall in that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it was good. There was like, it was really, really nice. I do think that like what was interesting is while we were in there, there is a small, tiny little sign on the way in that says no photos. But it is so small. It's really, really small. And it's something that I would maybe say is that needs to be recentered and remade bigger, because we saw tourists trying to take pictures of the animals. And like most of the time that would be fine. Most of the time when you go into a space in a zoo, it's like no flash or no this or no that. But the giant salamander is sensitive even to like the light of the like focusing of a camera. And so we saw a couple people get in trouble because they started trying to take pictures. And like, that's like, it's something that like, I feel like if they'd been warned beforehand, that you shouldn't, it warned more prominently that you shouldn't be taking pictures beforehand. I think that's one thing. I think that's like, and they break those rules, that's okay to like go up and approach them. It's just a shame that this woman who was working in there had to keep going up and being like, stop.
Yeah, like
stop,
shouting at people.
And like, it's fine. That's the thing. It's like, you don't want to have to, I feel like at a zoo, everybody's there, everybody has different experiences. Some people, they've never been to a zoo before. Some people have been to every zoo in the world. Whatever. But, and there are certain things which are just definitively bad behaviour. Like banging on the glass. Or screaming and shouting if there's an area that's meant to be quiet. Or pushing and shoving and climbing on stuff. Or pulling stuff or breaking stuff. All very obvious. But taking pictures, usually not a restriction.
Like so I think, flash, so you're used to not allowed any flash, but to not take pictures at all, I've never come across that before.
No, so I think what would be benefiting in this space is just have a little sign that says, there is a little sign, but have a more prominent sign that says, no photos, explain why. Obviously all the signs were in check, so maybe not, maybe our problem, but the symbol for no photos was very, very small. Yeah. And because we don't speak the language. Yeah, because we were so used to now just, okay, maybe you see a sign when you enter a building, but we were just bypassing it because we know it's not in English, so we can't read it anyway. Yeah. So it's kind of when we went back round, we saw the picture and went, oh. I wanted to see, like, is there one? And if it is, and there is, and it's very small, and it's alongside the other stuff that's like no banging. And also, if you just see a little symbol of a camera, I'm just going to assume that's saying no flash. I wouldn't have stopped to look at it in more detail and go, oh, you can't take pictures at all. Yeah. So it was, So I would say that is really unusual. So I do think that needs to be more prominently. Especially because I think whenever you approach someone in a zoo, if it's not an entirely positive experience, it can be really hard to spin it, like, if it's something that you're having to tell them off for or whatever, or just advise them not to do, like, even if it can be really awkward for both the staff member and the guest to make it a positive interaction. Yeah. So that's because at my work, if I have to go and say to someone, oh, don't bang on the glass, like, even though I am absolutely in my right to do that, and I will do it quite urgently and bluntly sometimes because it's about animal welfare, so you have to quickly step in, you're still also always aware of there's a visitor on the other end of that and this is going to impact their experience, so you don't want to be too blunt. You want to just be like, oh, like, and try and make it a positive interaction. And that's quite challenging. And so and it puts pressure on both the staff member and the thing and the guest and the like everything. It just so yeah, maybe make that more prominent. But aside from that, the majesty and wonder of a giant salamander, incredible, loved it.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on it?
It's weird, but it's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, just really odd, but cool. And I love that he got a whole house to himself.
Yeah,
Good for
loved
him.
it. Yeah, it was big. It was impressive. Loved it. Really, really interesting. It's also around this area where there's a giant tortoise house, which also had Komodo dragons in it, I believe. Little one, more Komodo dragons. And also, of significance, the second gorilla house is here, which has a smaller kind of concentration of I think there's 4 gorillas. It's a smaller group than the big one, and I believe it was something to do with the storyline. I can't remember it exactly in my head, but it was something like they were one big family group, but then throughout time, obviously as gorillas grow and males grow and they get competitive and they want to fight each other all the time, they have to be separated. And naturally, when they have forests that they can go off in, they would disappear. And so what the zoo's done is create a second kind of gorilla space. So like they have this natural kind of separation of the groups, which I thought was really, really interesting. And kind of a good way to kind of like teach people about the fact that like, oh, well, why do you have 2 groups of gorillas? Well, actually in the wild,
because in the wild
this
they
would
live in
happen.
a harem and there's one male or whatever.
And was it not something to do with like over-representation of the population?
I think so. They had a big sign explaining it all, and now I wish I'd taken a photo of it because I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm sure this had been the original gorilla house, and then they'd built the Reserve or whatever it's called. They'd built that so that they could keep all of their gorillas, but obviously give them the space that they all needed.
Yeah.
That was really good. Because I think there is a tendency of like, oh, we've built a new gorilla house now so we can shut down the old one. So I quite like that they still had the old one and still made use of it.
Yes. Yeah.
That was good.
It was nice. It was really, really good. Again, this area was in a bit of development, so I'd be excited to go back in a few years and see what it's all like. And then, yes, of course, we go into the children's zoo, which has like the petting kind of zoo, goatsy, farmy animal stuff.
Yep.
Which we kind of skimmed by, but it's nice to have it there. Obviously, there was a lot of green space for picnicking and family time and stuff,
It was
which
like
was
little
very,
play
very nice.
parky
Little
type
play
bits
parks,
here.
stuff. Like, it was a very nice kind of little space for like families to go and chill, which I thought was really, really good. But it also was right next to something that like you couldn't pay me to get on because I'm scared of heights, but it's an amazing thing that they have it there.
Yeah.
Which is, as we've said, Prague Zoo. I think we kind of have explained this slightly badly, but anyway, there's kind of like, so Prague Zoo is built round a hill. Edinburgh Zoo, built on a hill, round a hill, very different.
Yeah.
Like, so we're like, zoos like Edinburgh are like a straight up, kind of like, they're on a slope the whole time.
So you're
Prague
going
Zoo
uphill the entire time.
It's basically like, there's like a circle of zoo round it, and then in the middle there's a massive rock, which as we said had cliff faces, had all sorts of different stuff.
Because up until now, everything we've done's been fairly flat. Fairly flat.
But because there is a hill, this is what it has, is a massive chairlift.
Which is so cool when you think about it.
So cool. But also you couldn't pay me to get on it because I am so scared of heights and the legs dangling, and I just have a fear of like not jumping off fast enough and like...
Because you know that people with kids, that's an event in itself, just getting to go on that chairlift.
All those poor parents who are forced to get on that and they're scared of heights with their kids. But
then later when we were actually walking up the side of this hill.
Like, I wish I was on the chairlift.
Yeah, you can see why they have the chairlift because, oh my goodness, this was high. This was so high and so steep and just went on forever.
Yes. Amazing. And we'll get to it in a second as to why it was amazing. But yeah, very, very steep. Very, very scary. But yeah, they have a chairlift, which is really, really cool. And again, like a nice extra bonus thing that not all zoos have.
Yeah.
So no,
different.
big fan. And then yes, so we go past that, we go past the children's area, and we enter Waterworld and Monkey Islands, which feature things like sitatungas, flamingos, gibbons, lemurs, tapirs, and my personal favourite, the gharial. Which, is there any particular one you'd like to focus on there? I feel like they're all stars.
Yeah, I mean, I like the little lemur island. I always appreciate a lemur.
That's because you're very biased.
I am very biased. And yeah, the gharial house was cool. That was cool. And because there was loads of them, and then was it little turtles or something
Sitting on their backs.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was interesting.
Like
So, like, for anyone who doesn't know, a gharial is like so imagine a crocodile, but someone's got its nose and where all its teeth are and just squashed it in.
Yeah,
so
it's
like
very long
long,
and
thin kind of nose, with kind of like sharp teeth poking out either side, and they sit like crocodiles and alligators and like that you imagine, sit perfectly still, perfectly still, and don't move until they wobble and all the turtles fall off the top. But like, so interesting to see a very, very endangered species, one that is decreasing in number, one that is very likely, probably, not to bring the mood down, guys, but to go extinct within our lifetimes, if nothing is done. And I think by having them here and having them in this place where we can be inspired by them, again, brings visitors in, teaches them the story. It makes you go, oh, well, growing up, I learned about crocodiles in the classic kind of sense. I learned about alligators. I have this image of them in the Nile. Like, I have this image of, like, alligators maybe in a swamp in, like, Florida or whatever it is. You don't think about gharials, and you're not taught about gharials as much. So by having them here and being inspired by them, and I think this is the first time I've ever seen them, like, can add them to the list with shoebills, pangolins, all these other things, was amazing. And I thought it was a really unique, special little house that was, like, really, really cool. And there was a lot of them in there.
There was, yeah. It had good interp in this house as well. Good signage and stuff.
Really, really interesting.
All
Loved
round,
it.
good vibes.
Really, really interesting. It was a really good space. And like, while we could have talked more about flamingos and things, I feel like they really deserve the focus the gharials this time. Because they're not something you see every day. And yeah, I liked the other islands and stuff. There was flamingos and there was kind of, gibbons and lemurs and all sorts of cool stuff, as always. But yeah, they were the real standouts. And then once you leave here, there are more aviaries that are built like on the cliff with some big cranes and all sorts of stuff. The Great Aviary, I believe it's called, was the big one up on the hill that looks like something out of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Looks like big metal, really interesting. Kind of scary collections of birds that look like they would like swoop down and eat you, but still amazing. And then you get from all of these birds into more birds, but different kind of bird, penguins.
Yes.
What did we think of the penguins?
The penguins, they had lots, if I recall correctly.
Lots of little penguins. Yeah. Loved them.
Which I'm not mad about. I don't know that I have much to say, but I just always love a penguin. Can't ever go wrong.
I feel like we're pretty spent on penguins, to be fair. We talk about them frequently.
Yeah.
But still loved them. And I also loved what they backed onto, which was the fur seals.
Yeah.
Which were really amazing. Huge space. Again, like the gorilla house, big kind of arena for people to sit in and watch, presumably talks and feeding sessions with them.
Yeah.
And just like really, really cool big space. Loved it. I thought it was like really unique. It was really special. It was something that like, just felt really personal to them. Yeah. And like, it was something that like, I feel like sometimes, like, I don't know, I feel like it just, like, felt more like there'd been thought put in. It felt like it was care.
Well,
it felt like there was...
This kind of almost brought us back to the entrance, and I think when you look at the signs and stuff, I think normally the normal trajectory would be that people come in and they go here first, and there was a big shop here, it had a big restaurant here.
Yeah.
The big exit was here. So it's almost like designed to be, this is one of the first things you'll hit when you come in. And you can see if you walk in and that big fur seal bit with the big arena is the first thing you see, that would be quite an impressive entrance.
Yeah.
And had we obviously not been gunning for the pangolins when we first came in, we probably naturally would have gone that way. So I feel like it's, with that in mind, that's why it's perhaps been designed with the care that it has.
Yeah. Yeah, that is fair. And it was just a very big, sweet, nice area.
Yeah, that's nice. Little really... green trees and little kind of like cobbly streets. It was just a nice chill vibe at this bit.
Yeah.
I liked.
Yeah, before we loop round into something else, which was Darwin's Crater.
Yes.
Which might be in the running, if we're doing ReZoo's again this year, for one of my favourite areas of zoo I've seen in a very long time. Because it featured the animals of Australia. The iconic... wonderful, brilliant, bizarre, incredible animals of Australia, which are the echidna, the Tasmanian devil, the wombat, the kangaroo. It also had kookaburras. It had all sorts of birds, and it was just an incredible space. They had little jumpy mouse things. They had it was incredible. Like, And I was very nervous because I think when we'd spoken to Charlie, our friend from Edinburgh Zoo, before we went, I think when I'd been talking to him, he was like, oh, wombats and Tasmanian Devils.
Yes.
Brilliant, but often hard to see.
Yeah.
Whereas when we went, it was like, oh, Jack's here.
Yeah,
like,
everything was
the
out.
the reviewers, ReZooers are here. We need to like put on our best show.
Yeah.
Because like the wombat was up like munching.
That wombat. Oh, goodness.
I loved it.
That wombat has my whole heart.
Yeah.
I still remember it to this day. Oh, I could cry just thinking about it. So cute. So cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and the
Love
Tasmanian
that, okay.
Devils running around looking scary.
Yes. Now, I've not seen Tasmanian Devils before.
They don't look like the cartoon, that's for sure.
I don't know what I was expecting,
But it
but let me
wasn't.
tell you, it wasn't that. I don't know what I did think they looked like, but if someone had shown me a picture and went, what's that? I don't think I would have instantly said that's a Tasmanian Devil, because I didn't think they looked like that.
No.
So I was shocked. They're cool,
Yeah.
cute in a kind of weird way.
I have
but
an amazing story, amazing story, which is, well, no, it's kind of sad to start with, but amazing. I recently gave a talk on the colonisation of Australia and the impact of wildlife there.
Uh-huh.
And so I was doing a lot of reading on Tasmanian devils and koalas and other things. And Tasmanian devils, when people arrived in Tasmania, hunted to try and get rid of them because they were scared they would eat poultry, they were scared they would eat sheep, they were scared they would eat everything. The Tasmanian tiger very infamously went extinct. It's the picture that you'll often see of like mammals that went extinct because of man, like the articles, and then you have like this picture of the Tasmanian tiger, which went away, and then of course you have the Tasmanian devil, which smaller, managed to hold on, managed to bounce back, but now faces trouble again because there's been an emergence of cancer, which is actually a really interesting kind of cancer because it's a transmittable cancer where the animals can transfer between like cancer we don't think of as a disease that if you cough into someone's face you can't transfer that.
Yeah.
But the Tasmanian devil, the type of like stuff that they get on their face, these massive like boils, it almost looks like huge like things, are actually transferred and transferable between animal.
Wow.
So they have gone through this massive storyline where they persevered and they survived and they got through this like massacre that happened of them in Tasmania, to the point now though where they are at risk because the populations are having this cancer that's spreading between them. Now that does then also lead to a good conservation story about how there are certain populations which are unaffected by this and they're being bred and kind of kept and introduced into areas where there's no cancer. But it does tell interesting stories, and like I think I couldn't find a definitive answer on like where does that cancer come from, but it's interesting because even though a lot of these animals are found in remote places, some of them have been found with exceptionally high quantities of certain chemicals that are man-made in their systems. So it again maybe brings us back to not necessarily colonial hunting of animals, but into this kind of like human interjection and interference with nature. So it's kind of an interesting, if not tragic, story.
Yeah, well, yeah, very tragic.
And
but,
so,
yeah, interesting to just shine a light on another way in which man and our actions is impacting animals in a way that you wouldn't necessarily instantly think of.
yes, and has for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing. Like, it was very difficult to write that talk because obviously, like, colonization and these things, obviously, the human story is very important. It's like centre to that story because a lot of the time the conflicts were directly between an indigenous group of people and a colonizer coming in and wiping them out and introducing smallpox and killing and taking advantage of and doing all of these things. But also there is that wildlife story there that is really, really important to discuss as well.
Yeah.
And how kind of Aboriginal groups and indigenous groups from around the world have a far better knowledge of the wildlife that is around them than Western people did, and Western people most of the time still do.
Yeah.
And so it's a really interesting kind of story, and yeah, something that like I feel like there's a whole proper podcast on this
I was
with
just
people
going to
who
say,
are
this
like
is
experts.
a pod in its own. This would be really interesting.
But yeah, I think it's a really, really interesting one and something that like can get into kind of like all sorts of things. I'm not going to give you the full 20-minute talk that I wrote, but that's kind of basis of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's really like an interesting and important story to tell. And so the Tasmanian devil, while people might not leave with that whole storyline from the zoo because I don't know, because I don't read check what the signs say. It does tell you in a very important story if you're willing to kind of like listen and learn from it. And so I think it's really, really interesting. But yeah, they're also very cute. Just to lighten the mood again.
Yeah, so back to Prague Zoo and their Tasmanian Devils.
Yeah. Loved them. Loved them. And it was a unique and special thing that I've never seen before and don't know where I will ever see again.
No, that's the thing. That was really great.
Yeah. Really, really loved it. Loved the wombat. Kangaroos. They had the little hands poking out the pouches, which was very like sweet. And overall, just another great, great, great zone. And I think a really unique space that obviously, Oh, and the echidna.
Couldn't see them.
I am.
Despite our best.
Well,
try.
I'm telling myself I did see it because that thing sticking out from under a log looks very much like an echidna nose in my picture. Maybe I'll put a poll up somewhere, listeners, to be like, did I see this? Or am I imagining this echidna?
Or is it a twig?
Well, who knows? I'm telling myself it was a nose. Echidna's special because they are one of two mammals that lays eggs. Do you know the other one? Pop quiz.
Mammal that lays eggs.
Listeners, you can also be taking part in this. They are the monotremes. The echidna. And the other one has, for listeners at home will play a game, has a part of its body commonly associated with birds. Not the eggs, something else. It has spikes on its front feet. It has spikes on somewhere. Spurs. Small. It's brown. It was infamously a detective on Phineas and Ferb.
Oh, a platypus.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was the clue we needed. Don't describe the animal. Tell me it was a famous detective in a kid's cartoon show.
Of
course.
So, again, the echidna's amazing. Brilliant. Wonderful. And just a great, great time. Loved it. I thought it was really, really interesting. And, whole great area.
It was, it really was. And like not the biggest part of the zoo, but still great.
One of the most significant things for me. And then this is where we begin well, actually, no, that's not true. Well, I was about to say we begin the trek up the hill, but before that there were some smaller aviaries, which the reason I bring them up is because they were filled with parrots. And I don't know why, but I still have nightmares about those parrots.
I remember them being loud.
It was the big black one with the like scary like mohawk. Yeah. And I don't know what it is, but I have had nightmares that I was in that building and it attacked me. And you were there just like, Jack, don't go up to that bird. I was like, I'm just going to take a picture of it. It's fine. Like I'm still like 3 or 4 meters away. It'll be fine. And then I just took one step forward and then it like came at me. And I don't know why. This didn't happen in real life, listeners. It was just in my dreams and nightmares.
There were a lot of birds. They were a big fan of their aviaries in the zoo. There was a lot.
But no, all killer, no filler.
Yeah, everything was like beautiful birds. Just even just to look at, like the colours and everything was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was just amazing. And then we go up the hill, which was an experience in itself. And it was a long hill. It was a tough hill, but worth it, I would say, because you get an incredible view of Prague as you're climbing up. Yeah. And also, you're coming up and it brings you kind of level with the tree canopy, which was incredible at the time of year we went because hundreds, and I'm not exaggerating when I say hundreds of herons nesting in trees. So you could see the young herons like poking their heads out of the nest and like squawking at their parents. It was just something that I've never seen before and will probably never see as clearly again. Yeah. And it was just amazing because I feel like most people think of herons as birds that are around water and would associate them therefore and guess like, oh, nests in water, not up a tree up the top of a hill. Yeah. But there they were. Good. There they were, and it was amazing. But anyway, then you get to the top of the hill, and
kept pushing on,
and you have prairie dogs, bison, camels, all sorts of deer and elk and reindeer and takins and peccaries and wolves.
This was really good because you would think that, given that this was perhaps the area of the zoo that was the hardest to get to because of how high up it was, we got up there and you would think, oh, there's not going to be much at the top of the hill because it's just quite inaccessible. We got up there, Loads of animals,
There's
big
a cafe
restaurant.
up there, yep.
Yeah, with like loads of umbrellas at the tables.
Gorals, there was gorals, Chinese gorals.
Yeah, just loads of stuff. Like, so if you're thinking, is it worth going all the way to the top of the hill? There won't be much up there. Oh, there's loads.
Yeah.
And you're right, an absolutely stunning view. Like, we'd been up different buildings and monuments in Prague to look out across the city. They got nothing on the zoo. Just go to the zoo and get up the hill.
It was honestly...
Best view in Prague.
Yeah, and it was like... imagine if you're like a Scotland local, it would be, imagine somebody got...
It's like go up Arthur's Seat.
Yeah, but like go up Arthur's Seat, or just like grab the Highland Wildlife Park and attach it to Edinburgh Zoo.
Yeah.
And like that's what you're getting, because you have all these like more like diverse like African species and like all sorts of stuff like that. And then you've got all these like European native species from the Highland Wildlife Park equivalent and like smush them together into this amazing huge space. It was bizarre. It was incredible and I loved it. And like, yeah, worth every step to get up that hill.
Yeah.
Painful as it was by the end.
Yeah.
Like, but there is the chairlift for people if they don't want to walk.
Yeah.
Like, it's all, also there's ramp. Like, it's all, like, it's not like step. It's all accessible via, like, wheelchair and stuff. And it may be steep, but it does feel like if you really wanted to get up there, you could try and get up there with a buggy and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And I can't believe there was a restaurant at the top.
I know.
It was just like, oh, hello. There's like, I didn't expect anything to be up there except for just animal houses and stuff. So like, it was really, really good. Really, really good. And yeah, huge plains again of like things. Clearly they're the hardier animals to put at the top of the hill. But still amazing. And then yeah, the standouts I guess for me were like peccaries. I love those cute little piggies. The prairie dogs, always funny. I was really imagining, like, what happens on a windy day? Are the prairie dogs just, like, gripping onto, like, rocks? Like, no!
Like, in the winter, up the top of that hill must be terrifying. And trying to get back down it in the ice must be horrific.
Oh, yeah. And they must close it for visitors, surely. Because, like, it would be scary times. But it was just... yeah, amazing. And get good, again, to see kind of representation of, like, European species and, like, stuff like that in a zoo.
I like the elk up here.
Yeah, everyone loves an elk.
Yeah,
Everyone
chill
loves an elk.
vibes. I was liking that.
Yeah. And then I guess that brings us to our last area, which is you then descend the hill. And on the descent, you are into an area called Across the Continents, which I think was a fun mismatch of all sorts of things.
It's like, we've got these leftover things and we don't know what to do with these, so we're just going to call it Across the Continents.
But I think also good as an educational tool that you can go, here is animals and how they've evolved differently in different species.
Yeah.
Is what I would call it. It's just like really, really cool. So they have things like hyenas, anoas, maned wolves, wallaroos, which unfortunately we didn't see, I don't think.
Yeah.
But like I was really intrigued by adaxes, llamas, cassowaries, emus, all sorts of stuff. Amazing. Any standouts?
Remember that cassowary house that you could kind of peer in and they were just like right
in
there?
the glass, like, oh,
yeah.
hello.
And it just
Wanna
kind of
fight?
felt like, see if that pecks that glass hard enough.
It's coming for you.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, cool, but slightly terrifying.
yeah, I like that.
This was cool as well because you're like with the wallaroos, like it was just kind of stranger stuff, and at first it was a bit
like jaguarundi?
Yeah, there was a few things where I was like, what is that? Like I'm gonna have to go and at least look at the signage here
to see what I'm looking for.
I'm actually looking for, because I don't know what that is.
Maned wolves,
and again,
with big long legs.
It's getting harder to come across stuff that I've never even heard of it before.
Whereas realistically, if you look at this, apart from cassowaries, because they have that Edinburgh Zoo in Chester and stuff, so we've seen them, and anoas, hyenas, haven't seen them in zoos in years, maned wolves, I saw them in the US, but okay, wallaroos, adaxes, like all these things, really unique and special, jaguarundi, all of this stuff, amazing. And then you get to the bottom of the hill and there's otters as well, just for good measure. There's always an otter.
Yeah. Remember the otters.
And then we spent the rest of the day going round and round and round again.
Yeah, just going back to see some of the faves.
But like when I say going round and round and round again, this took us, I think we had maybe like 45 minutes to an hour once we'd done everything, because there was so much stuff. Yeah,
because normally we'll go around a zoo and then we're maybe like, we've got a couple hours left. We'll go back round, or we'll just go to the favourites.
This was like, let's go hard now.
This
run.
Was like, we've got an hour left, so whatever were the absolute standouts, we'll go back to them.
Yeah, and it just, so good. So good. And yeah, that brings us to the end of the animals. And what a cast it was.
It
was
really
like,
was.
imagine the Barbie movie, but a zoo, where you're like, I wouldn't change a single one of these cast members. The Kens, the Barbies, the Alan, America Ferrera, all of them perfectly cast in every single role.
All
no
filler.
filler. Exactly.
Really, I think that is not the word of the ReZOO, but the phrase of the ReZOO. It's just that for me. Yeah. I'm putting it out there right now.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Before we do, though, is there any other bonus stuff? We kind of talked about things like the food. To me, the gift shops we kind of touched on. Mm-hmm. Again, want to come back to them. Gift shops, excellent, really good. Like, great selection of stuff, great selection of price ranges, all sorts of pangolin merch. Got pangolin t-shirt, mug, and tote bag, because of course I did. It was really good. Magnets, all sorts of magnets of all shapes and sizes and colours. Great. Did you have any other bonus stuff to add?
I think we've kind of hit most of the bonus stuff. I think we kind of like stopped a few times to get a wee snack or a drink or whatever. I feel like all the little food stalls, they were all pretty good. There was quite a lot open, which I guess you need when you're in such a big zoo. All of the toilets I encountered were perfectly acceptable as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm going to mention, because I remembered now, and I'm just doing the conversion of price, which is the pounds.
I've thought of another thing as well. Well, you do that. While you were in the gift shop, I was stood near the entrancey bit where the fur seals are, and they had lots of signage about conservation. So it was kind of like some of the, I guess, big hitters, the different animals, like a tiger, a rhino, whatever, and beautiful big sort of signs that were double-sided that were telling, I guess, like a conservation story about each one. And some of it was specific to animals in the zoo. Some of it was just bigger animals in general. And that was a really nice little touch. Yep. And I wish I'd taken a picture of it because it was really good. But I was admiring that while you were in the shop.
Okay. Well, I'm back to me.
Okay.
back to me again. Obviously, after referencing Barbie, we have to come back to the man. Obviously. No. I've remembered what I was doing. Okay. Which was to do with ticket prices.
Yes.
So, listeners, have a think. We've discussed Chester Zoo previously, which has around a £30 ticket price. We've discussed London Zoo, which has around a £36 entry price for adults. We've discussed Highland Wildlife Park, which is around £20. All of these zoos, not high price tags, but what I would consider a standard zoo price, averaging around £20 to £35. Probably is what you'd expect to pay for a zoo.
And the bigger ones are going to be the higher end.
Exactly.
And given that this is probably the biggest feeling zoo we've been in.
Yeah, have a guess at home. Have a think. What would you pay for this? Jodie, I don't know if you remember the price.
I don't remember the price.
What would you pay for this experience?
I would pay up the higher. Like, I think this is, if Chester can charge £30, this can well charge £30.
Yeah. Is that what you think? Is that what you're locking in as your answer?
The way you set it up makes me think I'm going to be shocked, but I think it's worth it.
An adult ticket is 330 Czech koruna, which at current exchange rates at time of recording translates to just less than £12.
No! You cannot go anywhere in Scotland for £12 these days.
You couldn't go into the smallest aquariums we've been to for £12.
No.
You couldn't go into the largest zoos in the world for £12. I went to Phoenix Zoo and it was charged $40. I went to London Zoo, charged £36.
It costs
and it was the equivalent. It was insane.
Speaking of the Barbie movie, I've just paid more than £12 to get a ticket to go and watch that at the cinema for an hour and a half. What on earth?
Yep, and if you buy it online, take 30 of the off, so it would be even cheaper if you bought it online in advance.
Goodness, they could be they are underselling themselves. They could be charging so much more than that.
It's insane.
My goodness. This is one of those zoos that made me so envious of the Czech public as a whole, because I was like, these people, they don't appreciate what they've got on their doorstep. If I lived here, oh my goodness, I'd have a membership. I am so jealous of the people that get to have this as their local zoo, because it is incredible.
And if you wanted a membership, right, how much do you think a membership is for the year?
Oh, well, I'm trying to think what a membership is for Edinburgh. I'm sure that works out that if you visit 3 times or more in the year, then it would be worth it to get a membership.
You do have to visit a little more, but it's still only £65.
Oh my goodness! Oh, wow.
Amazing.
I wish I lived there.
So, like, yeah. Insane.
Goodness.
Insane.
Although I'd never be out at the zoo if I did live there, so maybe it's best that I
Maybe it's
don't.
for the best,
Yeah.
But so
Wow.
good. So good. And I guess then, on that amazing note, time to wrap up. 2 stars and a wish.
Oh,
What do you think, Jodie? First star.
this honestly is like the hardest stars that I've ever had to give because all of it could have a star easily.
Well, should I do one first? Because I
Okay.
think it's obvious what it's going to be.
Yes.
The pangolin,
Yes.
obviously. Not only for its brilliance and loveliness and amazingness, but because they have managed to breed them. They've managed to care for them so well. They are an incredible, enchanting, magical creature. I've just used the word enchanting, and now I just want to... The night was sparkling. Don't you let it go. I was wonderstruck. And it's just amazing. So pangolin, number 1. 100% star. Has that bought you any thinking time?
I would say probably the Malayan tiger.
Fair.
Just the whole fact that they had like, we're not just giving you one tiger, we're not just giving you one leopard. Like I really loved
2 or
the
3.
variety of species here. That was just so impressive. So impressive to see species of tiger and leopard that I have not seen before. But yes, that Malayan tiger, yes.
Loved it. Perfect. And then number 2 for me, I always want to say ticket price. Ticket price, I think, gets an honorary mention because that's amazing. I'm going to say in terms of like species, habitats, experience.
Yeah.
Loved the Darwin's crater.
Yes.
Darwin's crater? Yeah. That whole
That's good. I was going to say that, so
section.
you take that one and I can say something else.
Yeah, because wombats, Tasmanian Devils, everything incredible, amazing, beautiful.
Little wombat.
Loved it so much. What was your other one?
My other one might go to the elephant house. Just the whole elephant vibe. I really enjoyed.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And then this is going to be hard. Wish. What do you
Well,
wish?
I think the one negative that I've talked about was the food situation.
But that's more of a zoo-wide
Yeah,
wish. But we'll go with it
I'm
here.
going to give it because I can't think
Think
of
of
anything
anything
else. So that's what it's getting.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And then I will say... What will I say? I will say something like the...
Well, you talked about having a bigger sign outside the...
Oh, about the giant
salamander.
salamanders. I'll say that.
There's
Put a
a
bigger
wish.
sign outside the giant salamanders.
Yeah.
That's literally us scraping. You can tell, I feel like they will know that we're not lying, but we're scraping at some point.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Thought it was so good. So good. Can't wait to go back. If it was closer, I'd be there now.
Honestly. Yeah.
Loved it.
And I do kind of feel like Prague as a city as a whole, I'm like, I've been there now. I've seen it. It was lovely. Do I need to desperately rush back? Perhaps not. But
There's more
would
places. Yeah, there's more like other cities
There's
like
other
Berlin
places I
and
haven't
places
been
that
yet.
I've not been.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas that zoo, though, makes it such a draw, and I would go back just to go to the zoo.
That's actually insane.
Yeah.
And so I guess
Like, I will travel to a whole different city
Country.
just
country,
to go.
not just city, country.
Well, yeah, like this European city just for their zoo. Never mind all their amazing culture and history, which is also very worth a mention. But no,
Yeah.
it was the zoo. Surpassing all of that for me.
Amazing. And yes, I think then word of the ReZOO, very easily, all killer.
No filler.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Loved it.
Honestly,
Perfect,
like
perfect,
11 out of 10.
perfect.
This, I'm going to make a bold statement. I think this is probably my favourite zoo I've ever been to.
And you'll have to argue that point at
Yeah.
next year's ReZOOies.
Yeah.
We're here in ReZOO
But I just think a zoo is going to have to be very, very impressive to...
to dethrone it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is fighting talk.
It more than makes up for it.
Listeners, for context, we're about to record another ReZOO after this. So see if you can tell which one came after this, where Jodie's like, well, it's no Prague. Like,
Honestly, nowhere is Prague now. Prague is...
well, here's a hard question.
Uh-huh.
Last year's, so we had 2 winners.
Mm-hmm.
Highland Wildlife Park for fan favourite, Chester for Zoo of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
If they were to have been up against Chester and Highland Wildlife Park, if Prague had been there, don't necessarily reveal your whole hand,
Okay.
but would you have fought for more for Prague or more for Chester?
I would have been and am currently fighting more for Prague.
Amazing.
Sorry, Chester, but honestly, so good.
Oh, amazing,
So good.
amazing. And obviously, all in light-hearted fun.
Oh yes, still love Chester. Still
Obviously,
will go back and visit. Please don't bar me.
We're planning our current next trip to Chester, actually. Loved it. And yeah, I guess then, what shall we shall wrap up.
Yes.
This has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much to everybody who has listened to this, because obviously this was used as our excuse to go to Prague, to do this trip, to see the pangolins, for everything. Thank you so much. We love you all. You are the best. Please, 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 if you haven't already, subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening, and leave us a lovely review, so that we can keep doing things like this and we stay inspired to keep growing. You are all the best, and yeah, you just bring such light to our lives. So please continue to do that by turning up for our next ReZOOs. And yes, you can also follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, the artist formerly known as Twitter. We are on all of them at Pangolin Podcast. We're on TikTok at Pangolin Podcast. We're on them all. You can also follow me at The Only Jack Baker on Instagram, and at Only Jack Baker on the artist formerly known as Twitter, if it still exists when this comes out. If not, you can go and see if I am there. And yeah, thank you so much for your constant love, your constant support. Any closing thoughts, Jodi?
No.
Okay. And until next time, goodbye, everyone.
Bye.